So in the last lecture we have discussed about consumer surplus and under what conditions the consumer surplus can be determined. We have determined the consumer surplus under two conditions, right? On a similar pattern, today in this lecture we will try to determine the producer surplus on the verbatim pattern, but the process is just reverse as we did in case of consumer surplus to understand the concept very easily. So before proceeding the basic idea, producer, any firm or any person which produces the things for consumption of the consumers is called as producer. So the basic definition of the producer surplus is what? The difference between the actual price at which a quantity is supplied and the minimum price at which producer are willing to supply it is called producer surplus, which can be shown in the following diagram. So what does it mean actually? The difference between the actual price at which a quantity is supplied and the minimum price at which the producer are willing to supply it. For example, a producer is ready to sell his product in 10 rupees. He is ready means he is willing to sell the product in rupees 10. And anyhow, the market fix the price of the same product is 15 rupees. So 15 minus 10, that is 5 rupees, will be considered as the producer surplus for a single product. Are you getting the point? So the situation is just reverse. In case of consumer, the difference of what consumer is willing to pay minus what he actually pay. Here the situation is reversed. The difference what the producer is receiving minus what the producer is willing to receive. Are you getting the difference? Producer surplus is what? The difference of what the producer is receiving from the market minus what he is willing to receive for the same product. For example, as I have told you, a producer is ready to sell the product in rupees 10. For example, he is willing to get 10 rupees to sell any product. But anyhow, the market fixed it as rupees 15. So the difference of 15 minus 10 is, that is 5. This is known as the producer's surplus. This is what he is willing to receive for the same product, and this is what he is receiving from the market. So the difference of what he is receiving from the market and then that of what he is willing to receive is known as the producer's surplus, and it can be determined by the same graph. Look at this graph. This is your supply function, right? And this is the point E. As you know, equilibrium point, dry perpendicular from here on A, dry perpendicular on y-axis, so P, this is B. So this is a rectangle. So what is happening? Happening in this, the price of OA, this is the commodity, the price of a commodity OA is PE, which is being fixed by the market. But producer is willing to receive lower prices rather than fixed by the market. Say somewhere here, producer is willing this price, but the market is fixing this. So this shaded portion will be represented as producer's surplus. We call it as producer's surplus. Are you getting the difference? Producer surplus is what? The difference what producer is charging from the market, then that of what he is willing to charge is known as the producer surplus. So the shaded portion is known as the producer surplus, and by using the same concept of the area under the curve, we can determine this portion's area, that is known as the producer surplus. Now how you will determine the area of the shaded portion? Look at here, the rectangle, look at the rectangle, OAEB, this is a rectangle. So determine the area of the shaded portion. If you subtract the area under the curve, see, this is your curve, right? Area under the curve means this portion below the curve. So if you subtract the portion below the curve from the given rectangle OAEB, you will get the required area of the shaded portion, that is being represented as producer's surplus. Are you getting the point? Area of the rectangle OAEB, if you subtract from this area of rectangle the area under the curve, look at here again, the area under the curve is this, right? And the area under the curve is this portion, this one. So if you determine the area of the rectangle OAEB and subtract the area under the curve shaded by red color, you will get the area of the shaded portion, right? Are you getting the point? That is why you can determine the consumer surplus using the techniques of the definite integral. So the producer surplus is equals to, from this formula, see, the area of the rectangle OAEB, this area, minus total area of the supply curve from x is equals to 0, this is 0, this is xe. So this portion which is not shaded minus this portion should be subtracted from the area of the curve to get the area of the shaded portion. So the formula becomes this: producer surplus is equals to area of the rectangle is what? It's one side is xe, other side is pe, so its area is pe into xe minus area under the curve. We have the same formula, and I have told you in the very beginning, the consumer surplus is governed with the help of the demand function, and the producer surplus is governed with the help of the supply function. So here from 0 to xe sx dx, we will consider to determine the producer surplus always the supply function, not the demand function. Where 0 to xe sx dx represents the total revenue that would have been generated by some producer's willingness to sell at a lower price, and PEXE denotes the revenue actually received. PEXE is the revenue generated by the market, that is what a producer is receiving, and 0 to xe sx dx is that revenue which he was willing to receive, and the difference of these two is known as producer's surplus, right? Now let us take some questions. We don't have any problem of the like consumer surplus are determined in 3 ways, but the producer surplus we don't have any condition. Let us take one simple question. If the supply function for a commodity is p square minus x is equals to 9 and the quantity sold in the market is 7 units, find the producer surplus. Look at this. Before proceeding the numerical questions, actually the pattern for finding out the consumer surplus as well as the producer surplus are almost same. The basic difference is what? In case of the consumer surplus, we will take the demand function into consideration. On the other hand, in case of the producer surplus, it means whenever we are calculating the producer surplus, we will take the supply function into account. This is the basic difference. The rest calculation is almost verbatim. Let us take example 1. If the supply function of a commodity is given as p square minus x minus 9 and the quantity sold in the market is 7 units, then determine the consumer surplus, right? So the demand function is given as P square minus X is equals to 9, right? Sorry, supply function is given. And what is the quantity sold in the market is not 7 unit. The quantity sold is what? XE is 7, right? So what you will do, P square minus X is equals to 9. This is not the standard form of a demand function. Demand function is what? P is equals to some fx, like this. So this can be written as P square is X plus 9. So P will be what? Root X plus 9. This is your demand function. Look at your, sorry, supply function. The supply function P square minus X is equals to 9. So P is equals to root X plus 9. This is your supply function. Now, the quantity sold in the market is 7 units. There, the quantity demanded in the market is being represented by XE. Try to understand the difference. When we are determining the consumer surplus, the demand function should be taken into account. And XE represents the quantity demanded in the market. And PE is its respective price, right? When we are calculating the producer surplus, the supply function should be taken into account. And the quantity sold in the market is being represented by XE. And when we will put the value of XE in the supply function, PE will be its respective price. This is the basic difference. So XE here is given as 7. The demand supply function is, this. Now you know the formula to determine the producer surplus, that is PS is given by producer surplus is equals to, PE into XE. The formula is PE into XE minus 0 to XE. This is your supply function and dx. So P is this, put X is equals to 7. So what is the value of PE? Root 7 plus 9, 16, that is 4, right? Since XE is 7, substituting this value of the supply function in this, we will get PE as 7. So we have the value of PE, we have the value of XE, we have our supply function. Now PS is given by PE is what? 4. XE is what? Into 7 minus 0 to XE is 7, and the supply function is root X plus 9 and dx. Now integrate this function, you will get the required producer's surplus, right? I don't want to integrate every function every time because we have done a number of questions based on integration. So you must be very well equipped in the process of integration to determine the area under the curves as well as the consumers and producer surplus, right? 4 into 7, that is 28, and the integral of this is this. Substitute these values. So the producer surplus is coming out to be rupees 10 by 3, right? Second case, if the supply function for a commodity is given as P is equals to X plus 2 square, and the price is fixed as rupees 25, find the producer surplus. So look at the difference between example 1 and example 2. The basic difference between these two examples is what? In example 1, supply function is given and the quantity sold, that is XE, is given. And here in example 2, the supply function is given and the price is given. So naturally, if the supply function is given and the price is given, what is left to calculate? That is the quantity supplied or sold. So naturally, our supply function is P is X plus 2 square, and what is this? Price is given as 25 rupees. So put the value of this. 25 is equals to X plus 2 square. This is 5 is equals to X plus 2. So X is equals to 3. This is PE, this is XE. See here, PE is 25, put this value, XE is coming out to be 3, and then you can determine the producer surplus, PE into XE minus 0 to XE, X plus 2 square dx. This is 25 into 3, it will come out to be 75, and X plus 2 square, the formula integral of this is x cube by 3 plus 2x plus 4x. Perhaps what he did, he had expanded this. X plus 2 square can be written as x square plus 4x plus 4, right? And then integrate it, right? So integral of this is this. You will get 36 rupees at the producer's surplus. Demand case 2 or example 2, demand and supply functions under perfect competition are PD is equals to 16 minus x square and PS is equals to 2x square plus 4. Find the consumers and producer surplus both. Now we have discussed both the concepts in detail, the consumer surplus as well as the producer surplus. Now, in a single question, you have been asked to determine the consumer surplus as well as producer surplus both, as this example shows. See, the demand and supply functions under perfect competition are 16 minus x square. Look at this. This is your demand function, 16 minus x square. And this is your supply function, that is 2x square plus 4. Determine the consumers and producer surplus. But nothing is given, only supply and demand functions are there, and one condition, that is under perfect competition. And we know what happens under perfect competition. Under perfect competition, what happens? The demand and supply both are equal. So naturally 16 minus x square, this is equals to 2x square plus 4. What you will get here? What is the value of this? 16 minus 4 is equals to 2 means 3x square, and what is left here? 12 is equals to 3x square. X square is 4 and x is 2, that is xe. The negative value is not considered, because the quantity supplied can never be negative. So PD is equals to S. This is why we did it, because we have given only one condition, that is perfect competition, and we know under perfect competition supply and demands both are equal. So xe is coming out to be 2. Now put this value of xe in your demand function, that is PD. 16 minus x is 2, that is 4. It is coming out to be 12. And this is your 12. So PE is there, XE is there, demand function is there. You can very easily determine the consumer surplus. And the supply function is there. You can very easily determine the producer surplus. Clear? Because in both the cases, whether you are determining the consumer surplus or producer surplus, what you need? The value of XE and PE, then the demand function. If given, you can determine the consumer surplus. In the supply function, if given, you can determine the producer surplus. So this is how we have calculated the consumer surplus. 1 to 2, because the value of x is 2, PD is 16 minus x square, dx minus p is coming out to be 12, xe is 2. So 16x is the integral of 16 minus integral of x square is x cubed by 3, integrated from 0 to 2. Substitute 16 into 2, that is this, minus 2 into 2 into 2, 8 by 3. Simplify it, you will get 16 by 3. Rupees 16 by 3 as consumer surplus. Likewise, you can determine the producer surplus also. Producer surplus, the formula is just reverse. XE into PE. PS is what? XE into PE. This is the formula for the producer surplus. XE into PE minus 0 to XE, supply function, and dx. So XE is 12 and PE is 2 into 12. 0 to 2, 2x square plus 4, this is your supply function, right? This is 12 into 2, 24, integrate this, 2x cubed by 3 plus 4x, now substitute these limits in this and then simplify it, you will get rupees 32 by 3 as producer surplus. So this is how you can determine the consumer and producer surplus both in a single question as per given in the data. Let us take this example also. What it says, if the demand function and supply function for a commodity under perfect competition are given by PD is equals to 24 e raised to power minus x and PS is equals to 3 e raised to power x by 2 respectively, determine the consumers and producer surplus. This is also almost the verbatim question as we did in the last case. Let us give me some hint to you, and I will expect you should try to find out its solutions yourself, but after having some hint. See what is given here. The demand function is given as 24 e raised to power minus x and the supply function is given as 3 e raised to power x by 2. These two functions are given, and these two functions are given in the last exercise, last question. What is next? Under perfect competition. The same was given in the last question also. And we know under perfect competition what happens? This PD is equals to PS, right? So see carefully, 24 e raised to the power minus x, this is equals to 3 x raised to the power x by 2, right? Under perfect competition, the supply and demands both should be equal. We equated these two. Now from here what we will get? We will find out the value of x. It may create some difficulty for you to calculate the value of x here, because in this equation we are having exponential functions rather than simple algebraic functions. So see how we will find out the value of x from here. 3, 8, the 24. What is left? 8 e raised to the power minus x is equals to e raised to the power x by 2. Right? Clear? Now this is e raised to the power x by 2 and this is e raised to the power minus x. So transfer this from this side. What will happen? We can write it 8 is equals to e raised to the power x by 2 into, it will be positive, because if you will transfer this from left to right, it will be in denominator, and when you will shift it from denominator to numerator, it will become positive. And though when two numbers are multiplied, their exponents are added, so this can be written as x by 2 plus x. What you will get? That is equals to 3x by 2. So what we will get? E raised to the power 3x by 2, this is equals to 8. Right? We get this equation here. E raised to the power 3x by 2 is equals to 8. Now we will use the definition of the exponential function. E raised to the power x is equals to p. Then what is the value of x? Then x is equals to log p. Right? If e raised to the power x is equals to p, then the value of x is equals to log p, base is e. Now we will use this definition of exponential function or logarithmic function here in this. So this is e raised to the power 3x by 2 is equals to 8. So here in place of x what we are having? 3x by 2, and in place of p what we are having? 8. So see, using this formula, this can be written as 3x by 2 is equals to log 8 base e. Clear? Let me explain again. E raised to the power x is equals to p. Here in place of x we are having 3x by 2, right? Here we are having x, here we are having 3x by 2. In place of p we are having 8. So see, if e raised to the power x is p, then the value of this x is equals to log of p. So see here, the value of 3x by 2 is equals to log of 8. I think it is clear. Now solve it. So what we are getting, this is, now this is equals to, see, 3x by 2 is equals to, see, log 8 can be written as log 2 raised to the power 3, 2 into 2 into 2, 8. And you know the formula of log x power p is equals to what? P log x, right? So use this formula. This is equals to what? 3 log 2. So this 3 will be cancels out. What is left here? X is equals to 2 log 2. This is your xe, right? This is what we obtain this. In the next line, this 2 by the same formula, xe can be written as log 2 power 2, that is equals to log 4. So the value of x is coming out to be log 4. Clear? This is how we can calculate the value of xe. Now xe is there. Put the value of xe in our demand function to get the value of pe. Let us see how we can determine the value of pe. What is your demand function? Demand function is p is equals to, or pd is equals to 24 e raised to the power minus x, right? This is our demand function. What is x? X is coming out to be, so see, this can be written as pd is 24 e raised to the power minus log x is coming out to be 4. Oh, how we will find out the value of 24 e raised to the power minus log 4? Anybody know? You know a very simple formula, that is, I have already discussed it, e raised to the power log x, it's equals to x. Now remember this formula. Here in place of, and e raised to the power minus log x will be what? It is 1 upon x. How? Think and try to solve yourself. See, e raised to the power minus log x is can be written as e raised to the power log x inverse by the property just we have used, and this is x inverse means e raised to the power log 1 upon x, so it will come out to be 1 upon x. Clear? So e raised to the power log x is x and e raised to the power minus log x is 1 upon x. Now see this case, what we have done here, we are having here E24, PD is 24, P of D is 24, E raised to the power minus log 4, right? Now use this formula. E raised to the power minus log x is equals to 1 upon x. So here in place of x we are having 4. So it will be 1 upon 4. So P of D is 24 into 1 upon 4, that will come out to be 6, right? So PE is 6, XE is log 4, and this is your demand function. You can very easily determine the consumer surplus, and this is your supply function. You can very easily determine the producer's surplus, right? See, in one line, one consumer surplus from 0 to log 4, because XE is coming out to be log 4. This is your demand function, 24 e raised to the power minus x into dx minus. What is the value of this? This is 6, this is log 4, this is 6 log 4. Now integrate it simply. Its integral is minus 24 e raised to the power minus x from 0 to log 4 minus 6 log 4. 24 should be taken outside, substitute these values, and after simplification you will get as 18 minus 6 log 4 as the consumer's surplus, right? And likewise you can determine the producer surplus. The formula is just reverse. PS is equals to XE and PE minus 0 to XE supply function and dx. So XE PE as usual 6 log x, it will remain the same because 6 log 4 minus 0 to log 4. This is your supply function. 3 e raised to the power x by 2 dx. Now 6 log 4 as it is, integrate this e raised to the power x by 2. The integral of this is what? E raised to the power x by 2. The integral is e raised to the power x by 2 into 1 upon 2. So 3 into 2, that is 6. We will get here 6 e raised to the power x by 2, 0 to 4. Put here the value of this, simplify this. The producer surplus will come out to be 6 log 4 minus 6. Dear students, you should try to solve the questions of integration, either definite or indefinite yourself. So I will request you to be well equipped with the process of integration, either the definite as well as indefinite integral. Only then you will be able to compete successfully the applications, whether you are calculating the area under the curve or you are determining the consumer surplus or producer surplus, right? So students, I think I should stop it here. This is all about the consumers and producer surplus. Thank you very much.